All right, what's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another panel show. This is the new slot of the panel, 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night, unless Spurs are playing. But without further ado, let's introduce you to the panel. And starting off with our debutant, James Black, the voice of Spurs. How you doing, my friend? You might recognize him with a guitar in his hand at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, bringing us all the banging tunes and an absolutely brilliant new one this weekend with Robbie Williams' Angels regarding Ange Postecoglou. But how you doing, James?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me on here. I've watched this quite a few times, so yeah, I'm honoured to be on here, man. I'm good. Thank you.
We're honoured to have you, and hope maybe we'll get a hearing of some of the tunes a bit later on in the stream. Brian, you don't need too much introduction. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. And James, I didn't know that tune was you, the Robbie Williams one. That is a banger. That is an absolute banger of a tune. And big up my brothers. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks, Brian.
All good?
Look, just basking in the Ange glory at the moment. Having a good time. I'm just riding the wave. Let's hope it carries on.
Absolutely. So let's get straight into it. Let's get stuck in. We're going to talk about the game on the weekend first. So, look, Spurs, it wasn't the greatest first half, but second half, we really blew Manchester United away. So we'll start with you, James. Do you think that Spurs really did deserve that win against Manchester United?
Yeah, I do, actually. One of the things that I found I was quite comfortable with, I haven't seen for a while, especially last season or two, is I always thought that goal was coming. And watching Tottenham against Man United, I can't remember the last time I think like that. It's normally like 30, 40% possession and on the back foot and then hoping to spring an attack and a surprise. But I always saw that goal coming, which for me was so refreshing. So, yeah, I do think we did deserve that.
Interesting. Brian, are you in agreement?
Completely, totally and utterly. You have a few people saying that it was luck and we rode our luck in the first half and this and that. I don't care. We absolutely smashed them and we totally deserved it. It was a wonderful performance. Yeah, the first half was a little bit iffy at times, but that's going to happen in the game of football. If you look at it overall, there was only one clear winner, and it's Tottenham Hotspur.
Sim, like the first half, I would say, like in my opinion, the first half, I mean, the second half definitely outweighed the first half performance. I think like we were a lot better than Man United than maybe Man United were to us in the first half, essentially.
Yeah, I think if you look over the chances overall, you can definitely say we rode our luck on a number of occasions with really bad missed chances for Man United. Bruno heading over when in all other situations he probably scores. Rashford went through and forced a good save of Vicario. Even in the second half, Anthony hit the post straight after we scored. Casemiro has a header which was a brilliant save of Vicario. So I think United, if you're looking at it from a United perspective, they'll probably look back at that match and be kicking themselves a bit there. At least they didn't get a goal, let alone a point in that game. So I think from Tottenham's perspective, I don't think we deserved a clean sheet. I think we were probably lucky not to concede. But I think just how we grew into the game, look, you can say United had the better of the first half as well, but we also had our chances. Porro hit the bar. Sarr had a chance. Sarr hit the post with a cross. He also had a chance in the box save from Onana. So we also had our chances when United were on top, and they had their chances when we were on top. So it was definitely an open game. It was definitely give and take. But I just think our good performances just outweighed anything United had to offer. No one on the pitch was as good as Bissouma. No one on the pitch was as good as Pape Matar. Maddison was running rings around Casemiro. And I know, did United create good opportunities? Probably. But I don't think any United player really stood out on that pitch as playing really, really well and can really end that game saying they had a really great performance. I think the way that second half went, in terms of how we completely bullied them in their midfield, I think Ten Hag will be really disappointed with that. I think the football that we played in that second half was exceptional at times. And I think that we really gave United problems they couldn't answer. And yes, they had chances, but I actually think later in the game, when they were asking questions of us, trying to get back in the game, we just had all the answers. They couldn't break us down. They couldn't really create any opportunities. And it was Tottenham who finished the game far stronger. So were we a bit fortunate to win? I wouldn't say we're fortunate to win. I just think we were fortunate not to concede. I think that's how far I'd go.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And it kind of like you look at the performance of Yves Bissouma, like you say, the best player on the pitch. I mean, he made Casemiro, however many times Champions League winner, veteran of the game, absolutely world-class midfielder. He made him look like a schoolboy coming through the ranks at Manchester United, coming on for his debut or something. I mean, that's how much of a dominant performance it was from Yves Bissouma. But a couple of players that maybe didn't have the limelight like Bissouma did before the game coming into it were Vicario and Pape Matar. James, I mean, how good was Vicario on that day?
Unbelievable. And I don't know if I'm the same as some of you guys, but he was the one person I was thinking, oh, what have we done here a little bit? I must be completely honest.
Yeah,
I did buy into the Postecoglou thing of playing the way that he plays. I did watch a little bit of it at Celtic, but having Vicario as a keeper is one of the things I was worried about, and probably my biggest plus point from that game was them saves, not just the confidence he gets from it, but just the skills that he's got. That unbelievable. So yeah, he was incredible for me, and the best thing I took away from that. Who was the other one you said about? Sorry,
Pape Matar.
Yeah, incredible. But another one is I wasn't expecting that. I was shocked with that. I did like the way he played a bit last season. I think like everybody else, he's playing with these shackles off. I think there's a video I've seen where he passes. He starts the move with Porro, doesn't he? He starts the whole move off. And that pass that he makes, and within 8 seconds from that pass, he's scored. And that is the whole Postecoglou thing, isn't it? Getting in the box. We saw it with Barcelona, with Skip getting into the box all the time. And he came out to say that, didn't he? The midfielders are told to always get in the box. Yeah. And that is what I love, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I touched on Casemiro before, but like, if you watched the game and had no clue about football, and you saw the performance of Pape Matar and Casemiro, I mean, Brian, which one would you have said what was the the one that won the Champions League 4 or 5 times?
You would have said the one wearing lily white without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that performance, like we saw what he could do in Milan. Milan was a huge eye opener for people to see what he could do, being chucked in the deep end, and like many others, I was annoyed that he wasn't getting much more game time off that. When Skip and Højbjerg at the end definitely needed some rotation, he just wasn't getting the minutes. It's not. Do you know what? It's the run, like James mentioned, was incredible, but do you know what? That finish was not easy. That was not an easy finish, and for someone to put that away was outstanding. And he was just putting out fires left, right, and centre. Emerson came in for a lot of abuse or a lot of stick against Brentford for being caught on the right against Brentford. And people were saying, like, obviously, I don't think Ollie Skip was going back to cover the spec. Well, you saw Pape Matar when he came into the lineup. He was putting out fires left, right, and centre. He is an incredible talent, and I think he has to be in there for the foreseeable. Vicario, listen, Ben, you'll remember very clearly I had one of my many, not major, many major, let's put that together, meltdowns on WeAreTottenhamTV. When the Raya deal fell through. Even before we went on camera, I was spitting blood. I was going absolutely mad in the only way I can. And then, like I said, I saw a tweet which put me in my place. And it was when they said it, typical Tottenham fans, they want to go down the Brighton model. And then when we find a goalkeeper through data or whatever, we moan because it's the cheaper option. And I completely fell into that category, and put my hand up to it straight away when you and me did an update. What I do have to say is, obviously, when he came in, all pre-season, he played with different defence every single game. It was never the same defence. Romero was the one defender that we're going to rely on. He had 10 minutes with Van der Ven and Romero before Romero went off. And any doubt that people had would have been about his rash going out or a couple of things he did. But when it came to his proper ability at saving shots on goal, he did that wonderful save, like one of them against Shakhtar. And it was just a catalogue. You know, like when you see great goals from strikers like Gift Orban. Oh, look at all these great goals. Well, that was a compilation in itself, that performance. Any doubt people have about his actual shot stopping, agility, anything, surely that game has now silenced them, because that was one thing I didn't know is, how did he only get a 9? What did he have to do as a goalkeeper to get a 10? Score a goal? An assist?
Get an assist.
I don't get the whole team.
Robinson.
don't get-
That's what I mean.
Exactly. You got to channel your inner Paul Robinson.
That's what you got to do, because it was a wonderful performance, wasn't it?
Here's one thing I thought though. Do you think that he was actually our first choice? Because a lot of people are sort of saying that. So they're saying that Rail wasn't even the first choice. So is he the cheaper option, or was he the first choice anyway? I mean, I don't know. But what do you guys think?
I mean, it's hard to ever know, isn't it? But
Yeah.
in my opinion, all the noise that was coming out of the press is that we were pushing really hard for David Raya.
Right.
David Raya only wanted Spurs. He agreed personal terms with Spurs. So I do feel like Raya was the first choice, but we just didn't want to pay the 40 million, and then they just bend over backwards and let Arsenal have a loan deal, let them avoid FFP and all this stuff. So that really annoyed me. But after that one performance, I've completely bought into Vicario now. Completely.
Yeah, and there was a few other, like, not maybe myths, but things that going into this game were kind of not put to bed. There was like pushback on, for example, can Porro play right back? And like he coming into this game, seeing the team sheet, a lot of people probably would have been worried about him in going into that game, especially because Emerson had such a good game against Brentford, and people wondering why is there even a need to take him out. But Porro, I thought, had a brilliant game, I think, overall as well. I thought he showed defensively that when he's on his game, he can definitely be very good defensively as well as having that effective offensive ability that he's shown in the Tottenham shirt. So that was a really good eye-opener as well, and maybe it makes people rethink what kind of player we have in Porro.
Yeah, I agree. I think he did have a ropey first half. I'm not going to lie, Porro. I thought that, he got beaten a couple of times and did look a bit nervy, but I thought him with the rest of the team did really grow into that second half. I mean, Brian, you messaged me before the game. I think, no, you didn't even message me. I told you the lineup outside the Tottenham Stadium. You dropped down to your knees, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
I did. We've spoken about this on many a time on your show and on other shows that I just don't think I hadn't thought he was a right back. I think he's much more useful to Tottenham as a right winger. And yeah, when you revealed the news out opposite the M bar, I did drop some money that here we go. But you know what? In the first half, it looked like it was coming down his right, or our right, sorry. But he wised up. I think it was his best performance as a right back for the club. And like I said, do I want to see him there again? Not really. I'd prefer him still to be a right winger. But if he is there, let's say against Bournemouth, against Burnley, whoever, I won't be dropping to my knees anymore thinking, oh no, I'll be a lot more upbeat. It was a good performance from him.
You got more trust in him now after that performance.
100%.
James, what's your feelings on Porro?
Well, Porro is quite similar to you guys. I was a little bit, I buy into Royale, but then again, the 6 months before, I wasn't buying into that. I do. But one of the things I think that he's got, or that we've got, as a team that will improve Porro, is we've now got a game, and then we've got a week to work on the training ground. We haven't got this European distraction. And I think that Porro buying into the Postecoglou era of tracking back, I think he'll be much better than he was last season. But yeah, I was a little bit the same as Brian. I was like, why change it? That bit was great. But he surprised me. And now, yeah, I just think we've got two pretty close there fighting for it. My one is still Royale, but I think Porro's great cover.
So would you say, like, I know you're saying Royale just slightly ahead. So would you say Royale comes back into the team then for you this weekend?
I think he will. Yeah, I didn't really understand it. I didn't think he made too many mistakes, but yeah, I think he'll come back in against Bournemouth. But then I don't know. I'm not going to question the big man. He's God. So already.
Maybe like in games where we're favourites in the game, we're asked to, I know it didn't work out this way, but maybe in games where maybe at home games you start Porro when we're really asked to take the game to the other team, and maybe away games. Yeah, maybe in away games where we expect the other team to put it on us a little bit, we play more defensive, solid Emerson. I mean, it's good options to have, isn't it, Tim?
I think so. For me, I think Porro is just the better footballer, in my opinion. I think he's better, like his passing ability is better, his crossing's better. I think he's obviously in the final third, he's much better. And if we are going to be spending more time in the final third, in my opinion, he becomes a more useful player. Obviously, where he comes unstuck is obviously when he gets into one-on-one situations defensively. A lot of the time, he's proven to be a bit of a liability. I feel like his positioning defensively, especially when we're dealing with crosses in the box, I feel like he loses his man way too often. So those are definitely issues he's got to iron out. And he's still a young player, he's still 23. But if we can coach him to be a better defender, I do think he's going to end up being that first choice at right back, because I just think he offers so much more. I think Emerson is getting better a bit in those areas in the final third, but I just don't think he looks totally comfortable. I know he scored that great goal against Brentford, which was out of the blue, to be honest. Very unlike Emerson to do that. And I also think, obviously, we know defensively he's probably a better right back than Porro, albeit you would probably say Emerson actually had a bit more trouble on defensively against Brentford than Porro did against Man United. But I, for one, I just think that looking at them as a player for what Ange would want to make his system as effective as possible, I think Porro in the long term would be the better fit, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next topic of the panel, and we're going to talk about the current state of Spurs and their squad in the transfer window. So it's quite evident that Spurs still need to bring in numbers, potentially a striker after Harry Kane is gone, definitely a centre-back, and maybe even a winger and a midfielder. But the case is that Spurs need to sell quite a number of players before they even bring in one. So, James, do you think that we've left ourselves a bit too much work to do with only about 10 days left of the window?
Yeah, I do actually. I think definitely, and I think it's like, and we've got to sell about a player a day to even shape to the and like it's been like how many days? 8 days, 9 days without anything going on. It gets a bit nervy, and yeah, we have to do a hell of a lot, and we don't seem to be able to do it. I can't work out. I was trying to think this the other day. I can't work out how we just can't sell players. Is Lloris now turned down Lazio as well, or something? I don't know what's happened with that. But yeah,
there's rumors now saying that Lloris might even stay. I was like, how it blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't get that at all. And especially in the Postecoglou era, I don't understand. Yeah, we have got a hell of a lot of work to do, and I'd like to see some of that Kane money being spent. And I hope to God, like I suppose every Spurs fan, it wasn't spent before. I don't think it was. I think we will see some incomings, but how late are we going to leave it again? Do you know what I mean? Is it Harry Redknapp in the car outside Sky Sports late again? You know? It's leaving.
Maybe an offer from a present. Maybe Van der Vaart will come out of retirement and join us again.
Mate, if one position I'd want is probably a winger. I'd like to see a winger come in, to be honest with you. But then I love Solomon. I do. I love Solomon. I think he's going to be really good in the way that Postecoglou plays. But I'd like to see a winger, and I'd like to see Gift Orban, to be honest. So I haven't heard too much about him before. I'm just going to be completely honest until I saw Spurs were interested. But what I've seen is really good. I know about him scoring. Did he score a really fast hat trick? I remember hearing his name. I think he scored a really fast.
In the Conference League.
Oh, was it? Was it really?
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I remember hearing his name.
Goal in UEFA competition or in Conference League. I mean, Conference League history is not exactly hard to beat because it was only started last year. But but look, I've gone on record to say about Gift Orban loads of times now how I'd love to have him in. But what's your feeling about the centre back situation?
Well, loving Van der Ven, to be honest with you. And he's giving me just Vertonghen vibes, if I'm honest, and I'm really loving that. It's been such a long time before we've had a centre-back pairing that we can look at, and Brian's not going to drop to his knees when he is it. It's just such a long time, and yeah, and I'm loving that. That would be the most important signing probably for the window for me. But if there's an injury there, it's like, what do we do there? So yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it until I started talking to you guys just now. That although I do want a winger. Yeah, it's strength in depth. Not having the European football will take less strain off the squad, but we're one injury away from some big problems.
Absolutely spot on. Brian, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but have Spurs left themselves too much work to do this window?
Yes. Next question. I haven't got my lawyer here. No, listen. They've done it once again. Listen, we knew this was going to happen, but it's not even that. You were telling me yesterday, Ben, about the video you did about the amount of players we need to get out as well. It's a huge problem. And you mentioned Hugo Lloris. If he's rejecting Lazio. Why are we being held to ransom here? He wants to go for new opportunities. We're still here. If he stays, he's been demoted from club captain, not even vice captain. Off you go. You're not going to play. It don't sound right to me. For me, he's won it, and I don't mean rip it up in a bad way. I mean he's given us wonderful service, has stayed when bigger clubs have come in for him or rumoured to come in for him, hasn't won anything domestically. Let him go. Don't let him be held to ransom. We shouldn't be like, oh, you rejected Lazio. Oh, we'll keep you here for a bit longer then. Off you go. The outcome, the outgoings, it's been awful. It's been awful getting rid of them. And
Brian,
yeah.
I was having this conversation with Simeon earlier today. Do you think that if Lloris does end up staying, and obviously, like you're saying, he's been stripped of the well, not stripped, but the captaincy's been handed over.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was leaving. Do you think that can cause a problem within the squad?
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, you got to remember, we're trying to have a complete change of everything at this club. And Ange has done his part in doing it on the pitch, in the training ground. You can see the difference in the squad we have. And if you're having a complete rebrand, I don't see what he does. He hasn't. Foster's going to be the second goalkeeper, from what you'd imagine. I can't see Lloris wanting to be a second keeper. Then he's going to, I don't know him well enough to say, oh, he's going to cause a problem. But we know what we've had at Spurs with people that haven't got game time. It starts happening. And we've got this problem with a load of players that have been bought poorly. And if we do need to get these out, and we've had all window, what are we now? 7 days, 8 days as we speak away from.
8 days, yeah.
So we need to get, we've got 8 days. We've got 8 days to try and get, let's say, at least 5, if not more, players out. Then you've got to bring them in, and it's who, what, where, when. So yeah, this club once again has done it. Don't get me wrong, the players we brought in, well done, very good. They have been good additions. I'm happy with all the signings. Doesn't mean I should be happy with the window. We need more both out and in, and we've left it too late again.
Well, James was saying like a striker, winger, and a centre back potentially. Are you looking for the same numbers, or would you like to see even more come in than that?
Centre back for me is number one, like in priority for me, because we need that strength in depth. I do want to see a striker there. Maybe not so much. See, we're talking Brennan Johnson, obviously, and that if we sign him as a winger, that means Son to me is moving inside, and we'll see what happens with Richardson. But for me, it's a striker. If we can, I can only see us signing 2 at tops. And for me, it has to be a striker and a centre back.
Yeah, it's looking that way, to be honest. I mean, for me, I think like a centre-back and a hybrid of a winger or a striker, whether it be Gift Orban, who can also play on the wing, Brennan Johnson, who's a winger who can also play up front, and plus a centre-back as well. But Sim, what are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I think 100% we've left ourselves way too much to do in the last 8 days, because our squad size is currently 30 players, and we can have a maximum of 25 in the squad. So that means with that 5 players have to go just to meet the bare minimum, or just to meet the squad without leaving anyone out of the squad. We have to sell 5 players before the end of the window just to meet that. Then you add on to the fact we want to sign players. That means we have to sell 5, and then after that, however many players we want to sign, we need to sell that amount. So if we want to sign 2 players, we need to sell 5 plus another 2 to fit those extra 2 in. And to get that all done in the next 8 days, I think is going to be nigh on impossible, I reckon, unless the only way I see us doing it is if Tottenham make some tough decisions and start cancelling some contracts. And it doesn't mean we cancel contracts right now, but it means if we're committed to signing players and giving Ange the tools in the squad, and we don't want to leave them short, we sign them, and then at the end of the window, or maybe on deadline day, we see who's still here, and if there are players still here who just aren't going to be involved in the squad, you just have to cancel their contract. I think that's the tough decision we have to make if this is going to work. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to sign any players, let alone even one. If technically, if Tottenham are going through this kind of not system, but like way of thinking, that we have to trimline the squad first before we bring anyone in to meet the squad numbers, then technically, if we want to sign 1 player, we need to sell 6. Now, how long it takes Tottenham to negotiate these deals, get clubs to buy their players, to get 6 players out, that includes as well we've got problems with homegrown at the moment because we've got 10 homegrown players in the squad, but a lot of them are surplus to requirements at the moment. People like
3 of them are goalkeepers.
3 of them are goalkeepers. We've got Jed Spence, we've got Ryan Sessegnon, Jaffa Tanganga, 3 players there who are surplus to requirements who are homegrown. So if their futures aren't going to be here by the end of the window, that means we do have to sign a homegrown player to meet the quotas. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's very complicated for Tottenham right now, but I don't understand why they've left it for 8 days in the window to like start addressing these issues. I understand it's been a very complicated summer with a new manager and a complete rebuild, and Ange just probably wanted to take all the squad to overseas just to take a look at them, so he knows who he can trust and who he wants in his squad and who he doesn't. And there have been benefits of that because, people like Lo Celso have come back into the fold where maybe he wouldn't have been involved if it wasn't for that. So there are some benefits, but it's meant that we're now in this situation where we're 8 days before the end of the window. And I think we don't know where we stand in terms of signings, who's gonna be. It probably causes a lot of uncertainty in the squad as well, and it probably doesn't help Ange when it comes to who we can rely on and who we can't, because he doesn't want to completely, like he's probably telling people like not even Sanchez or Dyer, like he doesn't really want them, but come the end of the window he might have to rely on them because they might still be here because we haven't got rid of them. So it's a very tricky situation. I really hope that we get as many players out the door as possible that Ange doesn't want, and so we can still fit in a couple of signings. If I was Tottenham right now, I would just not even bother. I mean, obviously try and get them out, but I wouldn't even be focusing on that, but focus on getting your targets. And then if there are players still here who you really can't get rid of for love nor money, you just cancel their contract and you move on from it, and you have a big reset, a bit like Arsenal did not so long ago with a few of their players. They just had a hard reset. They bit the bullet, and they lost money on a lot of deals, but at the end of the day, it's in the best interest of the long-term vision of the club and the manager. And that's what we got to do if we're serious about this rebuild. I don't want to sit here come September 1st and Dyer's still in the squad and Sanchez. I mean, Sanchez, I guess, is not as bad, but there are so many players who we just know we are not really going to fit what we want to do, and I don't want to be hamstrung by being forced to play them because of injuries and things like that. So we have left ourselves so much to do. We're talking about 10, 11 deals here, separate deals that we have left to do in 8 days. So there's going to be days where there's going to be multiple deals handing out. Maybe you can do buy one, get one free. Maybe it's the end of the apprentice as the closer it gets to the deadline and just giving them away. 50p, 1p.
It's like a cash and carry.
Cash and carry, whatever.
A giveaway.
A wholesale, sale.
I just want to add one thing
doing
to
some
that.
deals.
Simon, I just want to add one thing, and I think you'll know more about this than me for precisely. I think a lot of the reason, not just for Tottenham, but obviously we care about Tottenham solely. I think why these contracts aren't being ripped up as well. From what I'm understanding, the Saudi Arabia window is open for about another 3 weeks after ours.
Oh.
So you can literally, if our window closes, it doesn't benefit. It might benefit us getting them out for some money from there. Don't benefit us in being able to go and reinvest that money or whatever we get from it. But I think that's got a huge reason with not just Tottenham, but all Premier League clubs why they aren't doing that as much, because that window is open a little bit longer than ours.
Tell me why the hell all these Saudi clubs are shopping everywhere apart from Tottenham. What is going on here?
I say nothing.
But in terms of the situation I was talking about before, the goalkeepers, I mean, have you ever come across a club that have 5 goalkeepers but only 2 strikers? And one of those strikers, Ange said he ain't even going to play till second half of the season. I mean, where is this? What has happened with this planning of this window?
Ange is so good. He'll have one of them goalkeepers up front for us or something.
He'll probably be top goal scorer.
Yeah, but in terms of the players we're looking to sell. You got Lloris, Højbjerg, Sanchez, Reguilon, Ndombele, Tanganga, Spence, probably Sessegnon as well. Out of all those players, which of them do you think you'd be most comfortable with remaining at the end of the window if we can't get rid of them?
I'll say Sanchez is the only one, in my opinion.
Højbjerg?
Like you guys. Højbjerg as well, yeah. Højbjerg and Sanchez. In my opinion.
Frightening fact is, I think, isn't Ndombele now the top earner at Tottenham?
Yeah, you know what? I think you've actually got a good point there. I think he is. That's what I had to think about,
I
isn't
want
it?
him out. You know what I mean? That is the drain in the funds there.
How did we get to a stage where Ndombele is our top earner?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Blows my mind, to be honest.
Yeah.
Absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah,
We need,
I think that's right, isn't it? I think he is.
yeah, right.
Kane.
I think he's higher than Lloris.
Yeah.
And obviously Kane was the only one I think that was ahead of him. Maybe Sonny, since he's got.
I think Sonny, I think, was about 10 grand less. For if we're to believe what the papers say and whatever we hear from the contracts. But yeah, that is a shocking stat. But it's not surprising, is it? The way that this planning and everything goes. Yeah, he's got to be out that door.
Yeah, that's what I think.
My money, I can only really see us bringing one player. To be honest, I can't see more than that.
In what position do you think, Tim? In what position?
I hope it's a centre back if we're going to only bring in one, because I think we got going forward. Hopefully, maybe we can address that in January. I think we got enough to go from now till January with the forward options. As much as I do think we need another one, I really do. But I think if we're going to let go of, I think if Tanganga is getting a lot of interest, I think we'll probably get rid of him at least on loan. I think one of Sanchez or Dyer will go. I'm hoping both, but I reckon only one of them will go. So if one of them does go, I reckon we bring in hopefully another centre back. Now, unfortunately, I think that'll be it. I think we're going to struggle. I think Højbjerg is going to end up staying.
Yeah.
I think.
What's the Atletico Madrid thing then? Has that gone quiet?
Yeah, I think I can't see them buying him at the moment because they were selling Rodrigo de Paul to Saudi Arabia, and that's fallen through. So I think they needed that money to buy him. I reckon I've got a feeling Sanchez is going to go and Dyer is going to stay. And then I think Regulon and Ndombele, hopefully we find homes for them. So I see them leaving, but other than that, I just think everyone else is probably going to stay.
And what do you think about this situation with Valise?
And Eric Dyer. No, go on, James.
And this situation with Valise, do you think that we won't even play him even in the cups? And what do you think?
Ange said that you're not even going to see him to the first half of the season at all. You're not going to see him kick a ball. So I think second half you might see a few cameos from the bench and stuff. But look, he's a 19-year-old kid coming from Argentina. You know, he needs time to adapt and adjust. So
have you boys seen much of it? Anything you could say to him? I've not really seen too much of it.
No, but we spoke to an Argentinian journalist, and he says he's a bit like Crouch. And he's a bit like, who was the other one he said to him? He said Crouch and Hernan Crespo.
Crespo, yeah. Take that.
Couch potato.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I think we all know there's a lot of business left to do. If we do kind of go in with what we expect is going to happen with maybe just one more signing, and that signing coming in the centre-back areas, what do you think we can achieve this season? How high up the table do you think we can finish, James?
Table-wise, it could be a little bit tricky, maybe top four. I mean, I'm loving how we're playing, but I think we could get 5 or 6, and I think 5th this season could maybe get us Champions League. Is that right? If the English teams do well in Europe or something?
Yeah.
I think it's still there. I think that's there. What's that? Sorry, mate?
I think it's pretty much nailed on that 5th is going to be Champions League.
I don't think that's without the realms. I mean, but what the bigger thing, in my opinion, is the way that we're playing with that non-fear shackles off. That's a cup team. That's how a cup team plays. So I think, for the first time in a long time, we've got a great shout at cups. Obviously, you've got to be lucky, haven't you, with who you get and home ties, away ties. But I think we've got a really good shout at a cup this year, not having Europe distractions. So yeah, league-wise, 5th or 6th, but I think we've got a real good shout for a cup.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. 100%. Brian?
Which makes me buzz.
Yeah, I'm going 6th. I'm going 6th and a cup. And what we've got to remember as well with this squad, I know it comes in January, but we're going to lose Bissouma and Sarr to the AFCONs in January, which is massive. If this is the impact they're having now, if we're really in a run and we're up there, not having covered, all right, Bentancur will be back. We don't know if Højbjerg is here or not. Skip will be there, but yeah.
But I believe if both players get to the final, they only miss, I think, 3 league games, which ain't too bad.
Ain't too bad, but then one of them's Man U at Old Trafford. One of them's at Old Trafford, and I can't remember. One of them's Wolves, so that's, I think, from what I remember. And I think the other one may be Brighton, or they're back for Brighton, whatever it is. That would have been the 4th game. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Listen, anything above 8th for me will be progress. The football we're playing is incredible for the 2 games that we've played in the Premier League. And I just think that other teams are strengthened bigger and are ready to compete more than us. This isn't because of Ange that I don't think we get top 4. I think it's other teams have spent bigger to sort their teams out. But anything above 6th, and I'll be delighted with what Ange has done.
I think the way he plays, though, we'll give him time as well, won't we? Like, if he's playing this exciting football, the Tottenham fans will give him time. They won't be on his back for not finishing 4th if we're playing the way that we've seen so far.
Yeah, totally.
So the board won't as well.
Yeah.
For me, yeah. Look, if we only sign a centre back, and let's say given that we don't make any signings in January as well, I think 5th is probably our ceiling. I do think we could sneak 5th if we get lucky with injuries. If a lot of certain players stay fit, I do think we can sneak in that 5th position. We said that pre-season as well. Obviously, a cup, luck of the draw. We draw Man City away 3rd round, is what it is. What can you do? But hopefully, a good cup run as well, and a 5th place finish. I think is probably our ceiling. If we can get some good signings through the door. From now to the end of the window, while getting the required players out, then maybe that can change. But I think right now I can't see any higher than that.
Cup?
Yeah, look, that you never know with the cup. I think it's luck of the draw.
Nottingham. We're going to get a new song from James if we get to the cup final.
Oh, you bet. We're going to be on his case, 100%.
You're on mute, James.
That's the only reason I want us to win it. I'm joking. Drag Aussie back out, man.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get him to do a new cameo in a new song. But look, I agree. I think 5th is the ceiling. But I'm looking at the other teams, the way they've started. I think we can get above Manchester United this year. They look a bit of a mess, to be honest, so far. Newcastle, I mean, they've looked brilliant, definitely in the first game. And they even stood up to Manchester City a little bit. So I think, you don't know how Champions League is going to affect them. I think Arsenal and Man City, for sure, are above us. Liverpool, I'd probably say, are above us as well. But I think anyone else is fair game, to be honest. Yeah. And I don't think we finish in the top 4, but I think 5th is doable this season. I really do.
And the good thing is, the expectations have come down a little bit as well, so fans can get behind them. I think that's another big thing. We've been waiting for this for a long time. We've been subjected to this football that we've been watching for the last 2 years, and we're all together. I could feel this amazing energy in that stadium, and I think that's going to help us.
Yeah, totally.
It has been there for a while.
Yeah, 100%. Probably since the mid kind of Champions League run, since we had Pochettino. We got a comment here from Stuart Craven. He said, James, well, not that one. He said, James is the new Chaz and Dave. How about that, James?
Amazing. Wow, I'm nowhere near that. But thank you so much, Stuart. Amazing.
Let's move on to the next topic. We've got some nice positive topics to finish off on, and we're going to start off with Yves Bissouma. So what are we thinking, Brian? Is Yves Bissouma currently the form player of the Premier League? He's the only player, I believe, so far in the Premier League that's picked up 2 Man of the Match awards so far.
Yeah, and don't forget, with no mean feat, he was a Man of the Match at Barcelona as well. He was running that show for Tottenham in that game as well till he went off. He has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, the things he's pulling off. We had the little nutmeg against Manchester United as the highlight reel. You had it against Brentford where he, at the edge of our box, pretended to go one way. The guy is awesome. What just annoys me is that Conte couldn't find a way to play him or wouldn't change to play him. He had a diamond. He had a crown jewel in his hand and he chose not to play it. What an impact this guy has had. He is, I think, without a doubt, if you look at, yes, the strikers would always get the credit for whatever, but this guy has dictated the play in both games. And I'm convinced that I used to have this thing with my dad, with Ben Asso Akoto, that if he had his hair in braids, he played brilliantly. And in the afro, he played woeful. And I think that's what Bissouma's going to do with that elbow thing. As long as he's wearing that elbow thing, he's going to have a blinder. So he has to wear that all season.
But yeah, Samson and the hair, it gives him the power.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. I think he has been absolutely incredible, and it's not just that. I think the relationship he's already seemed to got with Maddison, and the one it looks like that is blossoming with Sarr, They've all got trust in each other. They all know where they need to be. I think it's an incredible midfield three, and Bissouma, for me right now, has to be the first name on the team sheet. The very, very first name. He is awesome, and it's just great to see the player that we thought we were signing. And off the pitch, he seems to be life and soul off the pitch as well. So his happiness and his form is just oozing all over the place. So yeah, I completely agree that at the moment he's the player of the league.
Brian, I think we missed a trick at the Tottenham Stadium on Saturday. We should have been singing "Taxi" for Casemiro for pretty much the whole game.
Oh, you should have, mate. You should have done.
Bissouma absolutely destroyed him. But James, like, how highly do you rank Bissouma in terms of other CDMs in the league when you're looking at Declan Rice, Rodri, these kind of players? Does he compare to these kind of players just yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then some. Yeah, definitely. I'm with Brian. I think he's been the most impressive CDM in the league, to be honest with you. And I think Conte said something along the lines of, might be slightly misquoting him. He doesn't understand football, or something about understanding the football that he needs him to play.
It was the tactics.
Real damning it was. Tactics. Yeah. Something really damning about his football brain or something. It's just like, that's horrendous. I actually think that, again, watching him play live as well, it's similar to, maybe not quite there, but similar to Moussa Dembele, that the excitement I'd get from that. And we haven't replaced a player like that since he went. And that, again, is like another relief to see someone like that. The thing of having him linking up with these players so well is, I know we've touched on all these midfielders, where does Bentancur get in? Which is an incredible thing to say. An incredible thing to say. As soon as he had his injury, like, every Tottenham fan went, whoa, that's it. Season's done.
And it was.
And it was, and we were right. But how does he get back in now? Lascelles, he's incredible. And Maddison, and it's amazing depth, obviously. But that's how good Bissouma is. And I'm with Brian. I actually think that he is the first name. I really do. And watching him, I don't know if you guys did the same, but after that win, I sit and watch all the highlights, all the clips, and all the feel-good factors, because I've wanted it for so long. And it's like having a drug. Do you know what I mean? I need to get as much as I can. And watching them high fives, and he's coming off the pitch and everything. It's that for me as well. And watching that almost like captain-like thing with Son. I know he's not even a vice captain, but the way that he goes around and just that energy that he's got is just incredible.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, to be honest. And it's like, you're looking at the team now and the first two performances. You mentioned before, James, about Van der Ven reminding you of Vertonghen. You mentioned just now Bissouma reminding you of Dembele, and you've got Maddison as well, who reminds me of Christian Eriksen a little bit in the way we're playing. So we are kind of slowly getting back to where we need to be. But back on Bissouma, Sim, come on.
And Richarlison reminds you of Harry Kane, right? No, look, when Bissouma, for me, he has started like an absolute house on fire. I've been so impressed with him. He's been even better than he was at Brighton in these last two performances, in my opinion. He actually looks like he's taking his game up a level, which is even more impressive. I couldn't be more impressed. He's literally put in 2 9 out of 10 or 1 10 out of 10 performance, 1 9 out of 10 performance in the first 2 games. He's really laid down a marker for what to expect, hopefully, for what to expect from him this season. But what's so impressed me about him is he's been like a defensive midfielder, like he's a Makalele, like with his ability to cover ground, put fires out, make tackles. I think he's I think he's second in the league, in the whole league for tackles over the first 2 games. He's charging the pitch and breaking the lines and with that strength, like he's Yaya Toure. He's getting into the final third. He's doing nutmeg back heels, and he's doing little dribbles like he's Ronaldinho in the final third. It's like he's like doing little what you call it, little dummies like he's Modric. It's like he's got the best. He's like doing unbelievable things in that midfield. Like there's nothing this guy can't do. If only he could add like a goal or 2 to his game, that would be incredible. But he has really set the world on alight in these last 2 games. I can't think of a single defensive midfielder who's so enjoyable to watch when he's on the ball. You've got like Rodri and Casemiro, like take the ball, keep it simple. Obviously, they're impressive in what they do, but I've never seen a defensive midfielder who you like can't wait to get on the ball. You just want to see what he's going to do next. He's like turning players. He's dribbling past them. He's out muscling them. He's doing pirouettes. He's doing back heel nutmegs. It's like he's like a joy to watch in that centre midfield, and I'm absolutely loving his start to the season. Honestly, if he carries on this level of performance throughout the whole season, obviously it's going to be not impossible. He started that good. If he can do that for the whole season, you're talking about Player of the Year territory in the Premier League. Honestly, he has started that well. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to keep up this level of performance. I'm sure he'll have some bad games like everyone else, and whether he can keep up this level of performance throughout the whole season, have that consistency, will have to remain to be seen. But I have to say, like at Brighton, he was obviously a fantastic player, and that's why we bought him. That's why we were so excited about him coming into the team. But he was very much a player who rarely entered the final third. He was very much a sitter, keeping in his own half and making sure that the team weren't gonna kind of being counterattacked. And he was always very good, like passing and moving. And obviously his dribbling ability was also good. But he never really was a player who entered the final third. But in the first couple of games, he's really been providing an option, even creating chances. He's been part of that attack as well as that defense. And it's been an absolute joy to watch. And if he can carry this on, then we're in for a hell of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people in the comments, Toxic Headshot says he's half Modric, half Dembele. What'd you say to that?
I mean, on this evidence, there's nothing to say against that, honestly. He's been that good. I think passing-wise, to be fair, he's been pretty adventurous with his passing. I don't think his like long-range passing he has done anything that special. He has kind of kept it more short range and mid range and fairly simple. He has tried things though. When he's gone into the final third, he has tried some through balls and he has tried to create some stuff. It hasn't quite come off just yet. A lot of them, albeit he did have some nice passes in the box against Man United. But in terms of like his awareness of space, like that moment, for example, in the first half against Man United, he had two players on his left, on his back, and he had all that space on the right just behind him. And he kind of turned like as if he had eyes on the back of his head and just appreciated the space and burst into it. That was like Modric-esque, like having eyes on the back of your head and being able to know where everyone else is and having that appreciation. It was absolutely brilliant. And I can't think right now of a better dribbler in midfield than Bissouma in the Premier League. I can't think of one.
Yeah,
loving the hybrids here. We got Bissouma with Modric and Dembele. We got Valise with Crouch and Crespo. We just need to get some more people and blend them into each other. We'll be it's like Power Rangers morphing into one.
And Postecoglou's the better version of Pochettino as well. So
there we go.
All right. Anyone else want to wax lyrical about Bissouma one last time for the stream?
No, he's amazing. No, he is amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wax
I think
lyrical.
Sim's a fan. It doesn't sound like Sim's a fan.
Let's wax lyrical now about Ange Postecoglou and about how the fans have absolutely fallen in love with this guy. And the guy just does everything right, says the right thing, plays the right football, seems to have all the players on side. I feel he's building such a great connection with the club and the fan base once again. But James, what's your initial thoughts so far on Ange after 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing that he's done that is undeniable was the atmosphere pre-game, just after one draw against Brentford that we'd seen in the league. Now, what other manager would do that? The way that he comes out in the press conferences, the things that he says, even down to talking about protests and stuff, he involves everybody. He's there for the fans. He puts the fans first. We had the last 2 managers who just felt like, in a way, they're doing Tottenham a favour by being there. And I think the way that this is because he wants to be at Tottenham and Tottenham want him. And the way he plays is the Tottenham way. And all of this together is it's just like the match made in heaven for me so far. I mean, it's still early days, yeah, but I can just, that vibe was just undeniable. It was the loudest. When I played at the Shelf Bar that game, and it's the loudest I've ever heard, even through the Champions League run. It's the loudest I've ever heard the fans be. And that's undeniable. I think part of that is a kind of maybe the 5:30 kickoff, everyone have a drink. But and the other part of it is that it's excitement. It's bringing that in, that playing the Tottenham way to dare is to do. And that's a cliche saying that, but that is exactly what us fans want and have been starved of for so long. So that's why we're ready to fall for this guy. And we have done.
Yeah, and it's been like such a quick transition it's like the whole fan base have gone from being split to being complete unison, falling for this guy, Ange Postecoglou. And Brian, from your opinion, what is it about this guy that has made this whole fan base in unison fall for him?
First of all, I think it's the way that he's conducted himself in the media. I think when we saw his first press conference and he said, wow, you waited till the third question to talk about a certain striker that left and made a joke of it. Then the joke about not having Pep's number. He's just doing, it's a press conference you want to listen to. You knew what was coming with Conte. You knew what was coming with Jose. Whether you agreed with it or not, it was like, okay, rinse, repeat, here we go, yada, yada, yada. Team news, yada, yada, yada. But this guy wants to be here. He's not there saying, oh, look, I'm this big guy. Look, I'm here. You bow to me. He so wants to get that connection. And one thing's been sticking out for me a hell of a lot is, do you remember what James Maddison said when he signed? He said, Ange Postecoglou said to me, sign or not, you're going to see a completely different Tottenham Hotspur this season. And from the very first game against West Ham, he's delivered that. Whether the pre-season results or whatever have been what we thought we'd get, or a defeat and whatever, doesn't matter. 34 shots on goal against West Ham. I don't think we had that in 4 or 5 games combined under Conte near the end, or with Stellini or Mason. Everything has changed. And what you said, Ben, it's the time that he's been able to do this. Jose's had these players. Conte's had these players. Nuno's had these players. Can't get a tune of them. Can't get them to do anything. This guy's come in, and I've never seen, football-wise, it's a complete 180. You can see all pre-season and the things we're seeing from the training ground. Those players want to be there. They're happy. They're Maddison said again, I think of that event that you were at, that the players have bought into Ange, that they understand what he's saying. They bought into it. He has just come in. It's amazing what man management skills can do. It worked with Harry. It worked with Poch. It worked with Yol. Then we had the more stricter ones in. And there was obviously the backfiring and up in arms or whatever. He has just been, everything he says I want to read. Everything he's on I want to see. And the football he has played so far on the pitch has been what we've all been dying and crying to see. So that's gone a long, long way. A hell of a long way to doing it.
And it's like every ounce of positivity in this club right now, and there's a lot of it coming from the fan base, coming from the players, coming from what we're seeing on the pitch. Every single last ounce of it is all down to him. No matter about the players that we're waxing lyrical about at the moment, Maddison, Bissouma, Pape Sarr. Everything positive at this club right now is all down to Postecoglou. And I mean, I just couldn't be, I think he just fits this club like a glove on a hand. But Sim, talk to me.
I just think it's exactly the kind of figure that we needed right now in the wake of Harry Kane leaving and the way we were under Conte and Mourinho. We needed someone we could all get behind, that we can all pull in the same direction with. We needed a figurehead who was going to be positive about the club, who was going to see this as a challenge, who's going to want to basically completely change how we had been going in the last 4 years and completely revamp and give the fans what they want, which is the Tottenham way of playing football, attacking football, having risk, to dare risk to do, not being scared of the opposition, but have the opposition be scared of what you can do instead. And I think it's
there is the didgeridoo, mate.
Exactly. And it's the perfect time. Like Conte and Mourinho always felt like just uncomfortable marriages, basically. Like Conte was only here because he had no club to go to, and we were only here because we were so desperate to get out of the whole Nuno situation that we needed a world-class manager to satiate the fans, and it was never really an uncomfortable situation. And Mourinho was there because things were Pochettino had fallen flat, and you know, he was a manager who, yes, we wanted to work, but at the end of the day, it was never. We were just trying. Tottenham were just trying to be something they never were, which is this club that hire and like who give their managers, the best players, exactly what they want, and we're just and like the managers can like
try to do that.
Yeah, I think we tried to under Mourinho and Conte. Like we were pretenders. We were pretending like we were going to give these managers what they want. We're going to tell you they're going to turn us into winners. These managers are going to bring these elite mentalities to this squad, and they're going to batter them in training. But the players are going to be able to take it because they're world class elite level players, and they're going to be able to take them to leagues. And it was never going to work at this kind of club. You can see within the squad, these are like nice players who obviously you have to have a certain mentality to become professional footballers at that kind of level. But you see them around the training ground, that everyone's friends with each other. They're like they're happy together. Like they're not the kind of players with that really hard mentality where they really hold everyone completely accountable and they lay into each other every second, like the Conte Mourinho sides of yesteryear, like how they used to do and drag each other up in that way. We have to do things a different way. We have to have a more positive energy. We have to have a Postecoglou who's bringing their arm around shoulder, getting the best out of them in that kind of way. Tactically, getting the best out of these players through creating more chances rather than just relying on individual quality in that way. And I think the way he's dealt with certain situations, the way he dealt with the Harry Kane situation was exemplary. The way he's dealt with the media and the fans, having a little joke and being very honest and straight with them, has been a complete breath of fresh air. And obviously the football, the results in pre-season weren't even good. We lost to West Ham, we lost to Barcelona, yet we were so excited going into the season because look at how we were playing. Well, the little clips of the football we were in, the interchanges and the moves we were putting together just in pre-season were going viral on Twitter because we were so excited about the football we were playing. And it goes to show
we had the ball. We actually had the ball.
Actually have possession. It goes to show that the fans aren't, obviously we are swayed a bit by results, but we're not. We can see beyond the results. We can see beyond just we won 1-0, so it was a good week, or we lost 1-0 was a bad week. We can actually see what was happening on the pitch and make our own judgments. And that was Postecoglou was trying to say in before he took over, how fans are the best judges, and I'm accountable to the fans, and hopefully, whether we win or lose or whatever we do this season, the fans will be able to see what I'm trying to do, and hopefully that in a positive direction. And that's what they'll appreciate. And I think that's what we're trying to see, and that's what we needed. And that's what we wanted to hear, essentially. And you saw in that first home game how behind him we are, and how much we have fallen in love with him straight away. And he's such a figure. He's such a lovable figure, and a figure we can all get behind, and a figure that I think the fans have instantly taken to because of all these factors. And I just think that hopefully it's going to go from strength to strength. I'm sure there'll be bumps in the road, and we're going to have to stick by him through some tougher times. And right now, look, a lot of managers have honeymoon periods, very early on, and then it starts to go wrong. Hopefully we don't have that. But I just think that he's going to earn a lot of goodwill through how already he's changed things at Tottenham, and how he's got the players creating a family together, how he's got the fans on side, creating good atmospheres at the Lane as well. So I think there's so much to fall in love with Ange Postecoglou. I think Spurs have to get credit for making a great appointment so far.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. But it's just like, it just warms my heart so much every time I watch him in a press conference, when I see him on that side of the pitch, the football that we're playing. I mean, it just seems finally, James, that we're just like a club going in the right direction for the first time in so many years.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you remember last season, we played Leicester and we beat them. When Sonny got that hat-trick, we beat them 5-3. So it was like, great result, great result. But I walked away from that thinking that we just got absolutely outplayed there against Leicester. The way we played wasn't. I know we scored 5 goals still in this one, but I'm using that on purpose. That was still like this isn't right. We shouldn't be outpossessed. We shouldn't be playing this kind of way. This isn't the Tottenham way. And that was one of the much better games that I was watching. So to come away from that, I do believe, this is what I do believe, the Tottenham fans will give him time, because if he's playing this way and he's not getting the results, we're a certain way, us Tottenham fans. We like to see a certain way of football. We demand that. And like, I know I keep coming back to that, but this does seem like the start of that. And they've signed him to a long contract, so he must have come in saying, and I think he has said this in conferences, he only knows one way to play. That scares some people. But why should it? This is football. This football is to be entertained. Football is to have the shackles off and to play that. Mickey van der Ven said as well, didn't he, about to almost said to dare us to do, pretty much with what he had to say. He said, like, football's about taking risks. What is football about taking risks? And that all comes from the same way of thinking. And that was going to be that for me. I'm so excited. It's just, I was just talking to my housemate, actually, he's a Tottenham fan as well. We was talking about just how we're excited every single time. We're counting down the days. I used to a little bit anyway, because Tottenham's pretty much my life, but nothing like how I am now. Like I'm missing it already massively.
Yeah, and James, tell us more about like what you like the atmosphere you experienced, singing at the Tottenham Stadium as well on the game against Man United, his first home game.
It was just incredible. Like the best way for me to describe it is what happens. I play before the game and I play after the game, and half time, depending if like the results are quite a bit sometimes. But I play before and after, and playing, and I do after, but more before and after. On pre-game, the first time I've ever experienced this really is just the sheer volume. Now I play not just stuff of my own, I play like old classics and that as well, big Tottenham songs that's just going to get people singing. And just the way they were singing it from the very, very start just blew us back. We're just like saying, so I play with a drummer, we're just going, he's getting so loud, he's can't hear himself playing the drums. And I just feed so much off that. And that is my job. I think my job is to try and get squeeze as much as I can out of that and try and hopefully I'll take it then into the stands. And that's what I tell them to do each time, just take it outside now. And that obviously happened to a bit. That's not saying I'm saying it's down to me, but I see it as my job. This game was just so different. Just the way that they were just so loud from the very start. I've not seen since the time. I can't remember what home game we had. The home game we had just after getting to the Champions League final. That was
Everton. Was it Everton?
Yeah, I think it was. I was playing.
Last day of the season.
The new stadium, yeah. And I'd just written the Champions League tune then for the LA one, and they were singing along to that, and that was loud. But that still, for me, didn't compare to Saturday. Was just
and James, I'm assuming last season it was maybe a bit of a struggle at points to try and garner that.
The thing is with this job, like I'm Tottenham over everything, over music, over absolutely anything. And when we play that way or we lose a game, I've got to sit there on that stool and play, and that is then becomes the hardest job in the world. All I want to do is come home, turn the light off, and just not watch Match of the Day like everybody else. But you've got to sit there and it's got to the point where I think fans now come to see me, that they come to see me to cheer themselves up, and I've got to be there for them. I do find it extremely hard, like it after because you shouldn't be sitting there playing like your Tottenham songs after like bad performances and stuff. And who wants to hear it like a lot? Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel. But then I'm getting fans come to me saying they want it just to make themselves feel a bit better for the way home. So I've got to cater for them a little bit as well. But yeah, and there should be a hell of a lot less of that now, I'd imagine, because of the way we're playing, you know. But yeah, it's the best job in the world. It's the best job in the world. I'm Tottenham over music. So
yeah, I think we can relate to him, can't we? Because like the day after like bad losses, you know, that 6-1 to Newcastle and the Liverpool game and stuff like that. Like me and Sim are in the studio straight away the next day, player ratings, 5 takeaways, reviews, and all that. And we're just sitting there just completely depressed, and we're trying to like put on a show as well.
Who's this player? He was shit. This player, he was shit. This player, he was shit.
Yeah, it's very similar to what you boys are doing. It's that feeling, is you just don't really want to be there, but you've got to be part of what you do now. And
after a win, you're flying.
Yeah. You what?
After a win, you're flying. You can't wait to get back in the studio and talk about it and break it down.
I mean, I've never said again, like any Tottenham fan, that celebrating a Tottenham goal is just the best feeling ever in the world. Yeah. But now, when you're at the stadium and you're about to play, and it's just made the gig and what you're doing a hell of a lot better, and you've got the songs in your head, what to do now, it's just pure elation. The goals. So yeah, long may it continue hopefully this season.
Absolutely. Brian, for you, is it more about kind of the way we play this season? Does that go over results for you?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Obviously, that it's a results business, and we will see. But like I said, I will take 6. I'm not saying Champions League has to be a must. Whatever. We've all wanted to see this. This is what we've all wanted, no matter where you live, how you feel about any part of the club. All you want to do really is see Tottenham play attractive football. And when you've been starved of it for the amount of time that we have, it's like when you've been starving, or you're stranded on the desert, and then all of a sudden you find some food. You're just going to swallow it all up. And that's where we are right now. We've just got to enjoy what we've got right now. Yes, the points and the games will come, but like James, everyone has said, this guy's going to get time. This guy's going to get time. And I don't think it's just because he's playing attractive football. It's because what he's doing around the club. You saw what Poch did in peak Poch. You saw what Harry was doing in peak Harry. And Martin Yole, who was the catalyst. When the fans are with the man, I mean, inspiring things like doing the walk around the pitch after the game, like Eddie Howe does at Newcastle. Yeah. Whether that was Sonny or whether that was Ange. Whether Ange going further up to the south stand from what I've seen than Conte ever did. Just those little touches resonate. We're all talking about it now. Everyone, like James said at the beginning, Bissouma with the high fives. Yeah. These things just tweak in your memory, and you're like, I love what you're doing here. And
father as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. And just do it. I've been watching that Newcastle documentary, and you saw last season when they beat Man Eddie Howe. Every single game, every home game takes the players around the pitch. Just that acknowledgement, just those little touches go a long way with us supporters. And I think we've got to hold on to this guy. Yes, again, it's early days and people are going, oh my God, it's been 2 games. But we've been starved of oxygen and starved of decent football. Now we've got it. Look, even when it comes to the football, I'm being positive, for God's sake. You know, this is it. You've got to enjoy this while it's happening, and hopefully this will happen for a long, long time. And just those things, and we're going to see more and more as the season develops of what Ange believes. We've all seen that on our channels that during this time, the amount of Celtic fans that are watching Spurs content and Australians that are now coming over and watching, and they're all telling us these stuff. Watch out, Ange does this in a positive way. He's brilliant. He's going to do this. I can't wait to see it all. And if this is after 2 games, God knows what we're going to feel like at Christmas and then at the end of the season. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And I think you're right in what you're saying. It's like those small little things, those small details about coming over to the fans and really involving the fans in what the club are doing and the high fives and everything like that. People don't realize, but these small things make a massive difference inside the stadium and inside the fans. And it really brings the fans on board. And it's something that Spurs have been missing for so long. And like I said right at the beginning of the stream, I really feel that connection is building again. And it's only been 2 games. So imagine what it's going to be like halfway through the season or in the business end of the season. But James, do you want to give us a little rendition to close off the show?
Yes. Give me 1 minute. I'll
be looking forward to this.
Perfect, guys.
Right, hang on a second. When I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head. Pochettino is dead. I'm loving big and dead. And through it all, we'll play the way we want to. With big and Postecoglou. Whether I'm right or wrong, it's big and bold. You can keep your Pochettino, Conte and Mourinho, and even Christian Groves. It's everywhere we go.
I'm loving big Ange instead.
Unbelievable. What a song, people. What a song.
James, you got any more in store coming up? I'm looking forward.
You need a Maddison song, apparently.
I've got a Maddison. I've got something that mentions Maddison. I've got to watch it for a minute because it depends on if we sign this player. I've got something in my head about it, and it involves Ivan Toney. So hopefully we won't sign him, and I can bring that one in. I've got a couple actually. I've got a few. I'll bring them out next time, man. I've got quite a few there ready. There's one Maddison that's changed to the Ericsson one. I've got that, but there's also another one that I've got. But yeah, I've got 2 or 3 that I reckon will work.
Amazing. Great work, James, inside the stadium. I'm loving seeing the videos and stuff. We've got one up on the channel that we put on today that James kindly sent to us. So go check that one out. It's just another rendition of the Angels for Postecoglou. But look, thank you so much, both of you guys, Brian and James, for coming on today. James, do you want to tell the people where they can see more of you, where they can find you online?
Yeah, online and everywhere is the Voice of Spurs on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. TikTok, and YouTube. It's all on the Voice of Spurs. So what I do, I play at the stadium every most home games, and then I'll announce where I'm playing on my channels, whether it's the White Hart Bar or the Shelf Bar, and pre and post game. So if you follow any of them channels, you'll be able to see where I'm playing, and then pop down and then introduce yourself. Come and see me.
All right, well, everyone go and follow James, the Voice of Spurs, on all platforms. Brian, Tottenham on tour.
Sir.
Tell us what's happening this week.
Yeah, there'll be a cockerel doodle do every morning at 10 to 9 till 10 o'clock. And then there'll be Ange management the day after the Bournemouth game. And I believe I'll be at We Are Tottenham TV HQ for the watch along, which I'm very much looking forward to with Simeon. Whenever I've done it with Simeon, we seem to have cracking games to commentate on. The last one being the World Cup final. So instead of 3-3, let's just hope it's 6-0 Tottenham. And then we'll have a happy day.
Absolutely. Sim, what's coming up on your channel this week?
Well, you know where to find me. Tomorrow we got our Premier League predictions back on the ball, so we're getting ready for the big weekend, and obviously we're going to be previewing all the Bournemouth stuff coming up the next couple of days. Any movement in the transfer window, you know where the first place to get it. So come on, check out the channel over the next few days.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming in to view the panel today. We'll see you all tomorrow for another day of Spurs content. But we'll like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.